And guys, before we even get into this one, all I ask is that you take 1 second, drop a quick like for the video. I really do appreciate you guys. And I want to thank you guys so much for always sharing these videos. It is the greatest, it is the best way that you can show your support for the channel and for getting the truth out. Totally appreciate you guys. Fulton County DA Fani Willis is in trouble yet again as Judge Scott McAfee is called out for making a huge mistake. So Willis's special prosecutor, Nathan Wade, has now resigned from the election fraud case against former President Donald Trump. Now, this happened just hours after Judge McAfee ruled that either he or Fani Willis had to step down for the case to be able to continue.
Hours after a judge's ruling in former President Trump's Georgia election interference case, special prosecutor Nathan Wade tendered his resignation. The judge's ruling ordered Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis to either step aside or order Wade to quit the case because they had been involved romantically and it created an appearance of impropriety.
He had to. There was no way that it was going to be the elected district attorney of Fulton County, Fani Willis, who was going to step down. After this decision came out.
On social media, former President Trump celebrated the decision, calling Wade a disgrace. In a letter to Willis, Wade wrote he was resigning in the interest of democracy and to move this case forward as quickly as possible. But an attorney who represented Kenneth Chesborough, who pleaded guilty last year in the Georgia case, says the legal wrangling has set back the start of a potential trial.
It means the case goes from almost impossible going to trial before November to actually impossible to go to trial before November.
Meanwhile, in New York City, another judge handed down a partial victory for former President Trump's legal team, ordering a 30-day delay in another criminal trial. Trump faces felony charges for falsification of business records related to payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Trump's attorneys had asked for a 90-day delay, claiming they just recently began receiving more than 100,000 pages of documents in pretrial discovery.
Fani Willis went ahead and praised Nathan Wade for taking on the case in the first place, and Trump called him out and basically said that he resigned in disgrace. Many experts were left unsatisfied as they felt as if the evidence was enough to remove both Fani Willis and Nathan Wade from the case. But that's not what happened. And so this has led them to call out Judge Scott McAfee in what many are calling weakness. Now, from the facts itself, both Willis and Wade, they lied to Judge McAfee. They lied to his face about when their relationship started under oath. He also accepted the statement from Fani Willis when she said that she paid Wade back with cash whenever they went on these lavish vacations, even though no proof was ever provided. Now, this exact situation could be related to Georgia Code Title 45, or to be more specific, OCGA 45-11-5. So in this law, we can read the term extortion means an unlawful taking by a public officer under color of his office from any person of any money or anything of value that is not due to him or more than is due to him. Any public officer who shall by himself, his deputy, his agent, or other person be employed by him, be guilty of extortion in demanding or receiving other and greater fees than by law are allowed him shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and shall be dismissed from office. Now, this is a very direct law, wouldn't you think? If someone receives money or anything of value that's not due to them under color of their office, they shall be dismissed from their duties. That is, if they're guilty. We know that Wade charged Georgians more than $700,000 in legal fees. He was making around double the salary of other attorneys in Fani Willis's office. In fact, Nathan Wade showed an insane lack of detail when it came to invoicing. He was being paid $250 per hour, and some of his invoices were just noted and filled with phrases like drafting, team meetings, and team brain drain. Something that raised a lot of red flags given that he didn't draft any of these motions in the election fraud case against Trump. That was done by other people in Willis's office, people that made much less than Wade. Judge Scott McAfee says that there's a clear conflict of interest here, meaning that he believes that Fani Willis and Nathan Wade lied under oath. That is perjury. A federal perjury is a crime that can have someone fined and imprisoned for up to 5 years. But critics argue that since McAfee doesn't have the stones to do what's right, he's just kind of removing one of the two from the case. But here's something that's funny about OCGA 45-11-5. This was actually quoted by Willis when she was running up against District Attorney Paul Howard. So Willis actually worked with Howard before running against him. Back then, she seemed to be fighting for the little guy. She said that Howard was a DA that worked for his own self-interest and only cares about the things that benefit him and not the community. She added that Howard was a guy who secretly put money in his own pocket. This was back in 2020. Now, if we go ahead and fast forward to 2024, and it's now Willis who's caught up in a situation where she's allegedly enriched herself through taxpayer money. I guess the problem was that Howard didn't use cash, because that's how Willis is getting away with this stuff, right? She paid back Nathan Wade in cash, and they didn't go on these vacations with taxpayer funds. Now, again, this shows the weakness of Judge Scott McAfee, as the burden of proof is on Willis. She has to prove that she made these repayments, but McAfee just kind of seems to trust her word more than any receipts. Now, even though Judge Scott McAfee has shown his true colors and, for lack of a better term, kind of wimped out, others have actually stood up. An ethics complaint has been filed with the Georgia State Bar. So this complaint actually came from a resident from Atlanta. So his name's Stephen Kramer, and many suggest that he's just tired of all the corruption. Many have already praised Kramer for his bravery, because there's plenty of residents in Atlanta who feels as if Willis should be disbarred. So in his complaint, it says that Fani Willis allegedly misspent state funds with prosecutor Nathan Wade. Now, again, very similar to what Fani Willis said of the former DA that she campaigned against. Actions that, in her own words, should dismiss anyone from office. So Kramer also alleges that Fani Willis made false claims in Nathan Wade's divorce case. Willis said that Wade's then wife, Jocelyn Wade, was harassing her. Kramer says that Willis used her position as DA to threaten Jocelyn Wade during their divorce proceedings. This was to help Nathan Wade in his divorce case and prevent his wife from adequately fighting for her own rights in court. What about fighting for the little guy again? I guess that's kind of water on the bridge at this point. But Kramer did say that in his complaint that he had no legal experience and has been a Georgia resident since 1986. Many commend him for standing up for Wade's ex-wife and agrees that Willis should at least be sanctioned by the Georgia State Bar or even disbarred from ever practicing law. However, some experts believe that Judge Scott McAfee's ruling says everything that they need to know about the rule of law in Fulton County, Georgia. Trump's legal chief spokesperson, Alina Habba, says that there needs to be a cleanup in Georgia. From district attorneys to attorney generals, many analysts suggest that this is the only way for Georgia and Judge Scott McAfee to save face. That, and if he comes out and kind of changes his ruling and removes District Attorney Fani Willis from the case. But more than that, others like Alina Habba suggest that this entire case should be put to sleep. The problem again, though, boils down to Judge McAfee. And this is why he's getting so much backlash from all this. Because everything points to Wade and Willis being removed from the case, but he instead chose to keep at least one of them on. So Mike Davis, who served as the former chief counsel for nominations to Senate Judiciary Chairman Chuck Grassley, also had a few words for Judge McAfee. So Davis went on X to say that the judge's ruling was legally wrong. He adds that Willis had a clear and legal financial stake in her criminal prosecution against former President Donald Trump. He also went on C-SPAN to discuss how McAfee was appointed by Governor Brian Kemp. He painted the governor as a Trump hater and that McAfee has worked with both Kemp and Willis in the past. Davis added that McAfee just simply caved to political pressures, but that he was completely wrong in his decision. Do you guys agree with that? Now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to continue to bring you guys the updates as they come out. Appreciate you guys rocking with me. Thanks for dropping a like for the video. Thank you as always for sharing this video, and I'll see you guys on the next one.